Hey guys, welcome to our first edition of the 2022-23 football season Terror Town Talk. I'm Coach Dan Meyers, joined by head coach Rocky Hidalgo. We're excited to get started. First off, let's give a huge shout out to Sapelo Equipment Company. Thank you for your sponsorship. Putting these two ugly mugs in front of a camera cost a lot of money. So Coach, we're a couple weeks into preseason. Got a big win Friday night. How'd summer look for you guys?
It was hot. I don't know if you noticed it around here how hot it was. It was. We had a good summer. We have a lot of kids who are playing basketball, baseball, and so you have to compromise with those guys. Give them some time to go hit baseballs. A lot of those guys are out of town playing AAU basketball tournaments, so we kind of have to juggle that a little bit. But our kids, our attendance was pretty good for the most part with our kids. I think the big thing about this group of kids is they genuinely care about one another. You can see that on the field. They're a bunch of hard workers. I think they care about the name on their jersey more so the name on the back.
Fantastic. So we went with the new style of spring ball again, install only. Got 2 scrimmages this fall.
That's correct.
How are we looking so far?
I think the kids we're coming around. We have a lot of kids. We're starting 10 new starters on defense. Those guys, 10 underclassmen starting on defense. So a bunch of those guys will be back next year. We've kind of had some highs and lows on that side of the line of scrimmage. In scrimmages and in preseason, we're continuing to work hard and improve over there. Offensively, we've got a lot of guys who haven't played a whole lot of football. You guys got like Hank Noon and Ryan Schuneman, Eddie Jackson, Zay Cummings, even Max Poisky, who played last year, broke his wrist and missed a big part of his sophomore year. So there's a lot of guys who haven't played a whole lot of football at Glenn Academy or in high school, and we're trying to have to work through some things with them. But like I said, they're hard workers. I feel like every day we're going to school and getting better. I think the big thing we need to do is play games. One of the reasons we don't do the spring is because all of our quarterbacks play baseball. So it doesn't make sense to us have spring practice and a third of your best players are all out playing baseball. It just doesn't. Or track. A lot of the skill is running track, and they're deep in there, and they would miss spring practice. So I think getting the 2 scrimmages, it's a little different format, but it basically we're getting another game under our belt before we have to play a game. I think that played a big role in our ability to come back and win the game Friday against Statesboro.
Oh, don't get ahead of us, man. That's
sorry.
coming up.
Sorry.
So speaking of summer, big project this summer, turf, the stadium. How's that going?
The stadium is finished. It's we had our scrimmage versus Richmond Hill on it. It's turf. It looks good. It's a beautiful facility. The great thing about turf, I don't think anybody who's a football coach would prefer necessarily turf over grass. When the grass is well maintained, when it's nice and dry, and all those things being equal or where you want it, I think everybody would like, man, I'd rather play on grass. The problem is, it's so very seldom get that opportunity. You get so much rain over the course of the season, you get so much wear. You just don't get to play on pristine surfaces very much when it's grass. So turf is a huge advantage just in the fact that last year, after we had one weekend, we had a lot of games. We had a Thursday and Friday night game on the field, and basically the stadium was ruined for the rest of the season.
Yeah, we got a lot of rain leading up to those games too. I think.
Yeah, and it was just, it was done. And so though that won't be an issue, we'll always have a good surface to play on. Things like this showcase we're doing, the Georgia-Florida challenge we've got going on down here, I think is you have the ability to play a showcase like that in the stadium because of that. So I'm excited by it. We don't have to worry about the field, the rain conditions. We just go out and play the game.
Strap them on, play
That's
ball.
It. No doubt.
Speaking of turf, you got an additional role this year, general contractor. How's the turf practice field coming along?
I don't know if that guy wants me out there anymore. We're getting there. Not as fast as I wanted to. They were, we have a shortage on everything on the planet right now. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah.
Supply chain shortage. There was a gravel and granite shortage, and we couldn't get gravel and granite to start the project, so it pushed it back. I think they had to go up to all the way to like Michigan or Minnesota, somewhere up north, and get gravel, which is crazy, and get it shipped down here. So the project was delayed. They're just about finished with it. I'm hoping tomorrow we'll be able to practice on the field, but it should be soon. We don't have to worry about that. I know it's been an issue for both us and the band because the band hasn't been able to get out on the field nearly as much. We've been practicing indoors on Tuesday. Entirely indoors in the facility because there's just no space. So hopefully next week we'll be able to rock and roll on that thing.
Fantastic. You got anything else to talk about over summer?
Man, just had a good summer. Spent some time with my kids. My daughter's back at college. You know how that goes. My son, I've spent 27 years coaching other people's kids. I'm finally getting a chance to coach my sons. Deuce is a sophomore this year and playing on the football team. I've really enjoyed that. And on top of that, my daughter's a sophomore and young Harris playing volleyball. Cooper is a crazy person. Cooper, he's a wild man and
love you, Coop.
Yeah, everybody's good and rocking and rolling and ready to get started on this football season this school year.
So you kind of hinted at it. Friday night we had an electrifying game. How'd that? Statesboro went up there, non-region opponent this year, out of our region. We got to add those beautiful Augusta schools to the region,
yep.
And we added Statesboro to schedule. They got some dudes up there.
Yeah.
And that one guy, 10-4 100-yard dash guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he flies. Yeah. But we came out victorious. Tell us about that game.
We were fortunate. I'll say this: our kids, we fell behind by 14 points twice in the game. Our kids never gave up. I think the one thing, whether we had won or lost that game, the one thing I was going to take away from that game was we fell behind 21-14 going in, it's the fourth quarter. We come off a sideline for kick return. You have Greg Peacock comes over and he's telling the kids, he's encouraging everybody. And you have a sophomore kid. He's not pointing finger. He's not angry at the defense. He's over here encouraging everybody, hey, everybody get a hat on a hat. I'm going to take this back for a touchdown. You saw that a lot with our kids. I think we spent a lot of time, big emphasis on character this offseason, just in terms of having the right kids in our football program. Kids, we basically set a standard and said, hey, these are expectations. If you can't meet these expectations, you're not going to be a part of the program. And unfortunately, we lost some kids because of that. But I think what we gained is we gained some grit. We did some things Friday night that I hadn't seen us do in a while. I think our kids went up and made plays. And I think when kids do that, it's because this program is important to them. Our each other, their teammates are important to them. The thing in the locker room is important to them. I think you saw a big part of that. I was really encouraged with the way our kids made plays, the grit we showed, how we fought back, the positive energy we had on the sideline. When things went wrong, there was no finger pointing. We plowed forward, and the kids found a way to win the game. Really excited for that.
At every level of football, if you can keep that momentum on your side, no matter what the score is, and go out there and fight, good things tend to happen to you.
That's it.
We scored a touchdown on the last play of the game to tie it.
Yep.
We go into overtime. We score. What's that decision like for you? We're 2.5 hours on the road, overtime game. Are you basically saying, I want this game to be over here? Or did you know for a fact we're going to score here and we're going to win? Or was it, hey, let's get it over with, win or lose, we want to throw this play out there, put it on tape for our opponents?
I knew it was going to work. So I knew it was going to work from the first touchdown that we scored. We had it. I knew as the game kind of went along, I felt like we were going to need it, so I didn't use it. I could have used it earlier. I wanted to use it at the end of regulation. It was the perfect time. We had it. We'd have scored. However, it was pandemonium. The kids were running around, and I was deathly afraid that somebody would not have gotten the call, and I didn't want to flip it out there and the kicker not get the call and not go for it, or Tank not get the call, or the guy who's got to block support not to get the call. So I didn't run it then. I had a sneaking suspicion that overtime was going to go about the way it went. I'm not sure we could stop them. I didn't think they could stop us. I was hoping to win the coin toss so we could go on defense first. I felt pretty sure that he would go and kick the extra point, and then we'd have an opportunity there at the end to win the game, score a touchdown, and win on 2-point conversion. Luckily, God helped me out on this one. Went kind of the way I thought it would go. And we won that coin. When we won that coin toss, I told the kids before the coin toss we were going to run it. Hey, it's coming. We're going to win the game with this. We told them on the sideline. We prepped everybody. Everybody was excited by it. Everybody did their job. Hey, man, that's the way it's supposed to work.
Yeah, and there's so many small details into that. I noticed, I wasn't at the game, but I noticed on film, Tank making sure neither knee's on the ground when the ball snapped. Like you said, you're pulling linemen to make sure they give support. And then having an athlete that can kick a ball through the uprights is important. So really impressive play, really impressive teamwork.
And even before that, when they had the ball to score to go up 7 points, we burned 2 timeouts. And so the decision is, do you hold those timeouts, you try to stop them, or do you burn those timeouts, get time on the clock? I didn't want the game to end with their touchdown. So we burned 2 timeouts, our last 2 timeouts, and our kids went down the field with no timeouts in a 2-minute drill with 1 minute and 30 seconds left in the game. made plays, went down in there and ran a really good 2-minute drill. And Tyler distributed the ball, put the ball. I mean, there's so many things went into that win that most people talk about that play. When I go back, I think about that, Tyler scrambling, getting the ball to Ryan Schoeneman. He gets outside the pocket and throws it up, and Devontae Lang makes a great catch. David Prince going up twice and getting 2 balls. I think about all of those things in addition to that. And just the timeouts. I mean, those 2 timeouts were big timeouts, some time management, taking a big picture. Most people don't even think about those things in the game. Me as the head coach, we have to think about, and that allowed us to have enough time to get down there and score the touchdown.
Coach, we've mentioned his name already. Peacock,
Yep.
Sophomore. How high is his ceiling? You've had some athletes come through this program. How high is Peacock's ceiling?
He's got a chance to be really good, and there are a lot of kids that have wandered through here that are really, really good athletes and just really good players. I think the opportunity that he has is, he's got some DJ, some Garrison Hurd qualities, some Randon Jernigan qualities, some qualities you can build a program around. Anytime your guys who are the best player, your guys who Rudyard Kipling said, the speed of the wolf, the speed of the lead wolf sets the speed of the pack. When your lead wolf is that guy and he brings that positive energy to the table and he brings that grit to the table, everybody feeds off him. I think that's something we had here when DJ was here and Garrison Hurd was here. We had tough-minded kids who were great players. I think we have some kids right now who are tough-minded kids and have a chance to be some great players. So he's an incredibly gifted athlete. I think what has a chance to really separate him from other guys who are just as talented is what he brings to the table in terms of as a teammate, as a worker, just a character standpoint. I mean, people just don't understand how important chemistry in the locker room is to the overall success of a program.
100%. We've mentioned a few of the baseball guys. I coach that a little bit on the side too. How is it to kind of inject some new blood, but they kind of have those senior leadership qualities? Hank Noonan,
Yep.
Ryan Schoeneman coming in, first-year player as a junior. Having those guys that are new blood, but they understand what it takes to be a winner. How's that looking?
I love having those guys, and I knew them kind of as baseball players. Didn't have a whole bunch of relationship with them since I didn't coach them, but having them on the field, they're positive kids. They're used to working hard. They're tough-minded kids. So other people get around them, and that rubs off on people. And Hank is. I don't know what kind of baseball player Hank is. He might be Hank Aaron for all I know. He's a heck of a football player, and there's a good chance he's going to have a chance, if he wants to go play some football in college. He's a really good. Ryan Schoeneman's another guy. He's a really, really good athlete. I didn't realize how good of an athlete he was until he got on the football field and started running around. And really the thing that we have to do with them is play catch up because they don't have a lot of game experience, which is why playing an extra scrimmage, we got them a whole nother game to play. So we're a game better right now than if we'd only had one scrimmage and we'd have had some, rinky-dink spring practice. But all of those guys, Grayson Gregg's done a great job. He's going to be a good player. We've got some kids that come out from basketball. DJ Baldwin is going to be a really good player here. And so, I think the big thing about, with Glenn Academy, the idea, when I was up in Atlanta, the teams we've really been good, whether it's here or in Atlanta, have had kids who played multiple sports. And what it does is that rubs off on each sport. When we were good at football, we were good at baseball, we were good at basketball, we were good at track. It rubs off on all of those things. And so, I'm one of those guys, I like to see my kids play other things, encourage them to do that. And to do that, if you're a football coach or a baseball coach or a basketball coach, and Coach Welburn's really good about this, Coach Haywood's really good about this, compromise. If a guy's going to play football, he can't be 7 days a week, 24 hours a day baseball, or 7 days. And likewise, the same thing with football. He's going to miss a Thursday to go out of town and go play in a baseball tournament in Atlanta. And if you want that guy to play football and baseball, you got to give him the freedom to do that, because if you don't, his primary sport may be baseball. And so you may lose him if you don't give him the freedom to go do some of those things sometimes. The great thing about all these guys is when football season started, they've been all football, all in. And, just working incredibly hard, working on their craft and getting better.
Yeah, I know from a baseball perspective, we're really excited to see what those guys bring back to the baseball field, the lessons they've learned, the work ethic they learned under the football program, the muscle they've put on should pay dividends. So we talked about varsity pretty extensively, Coach, today. How's JV these days?
We're getting on. We haven't had a JV game. We start next week versus Camden County.
They're ready to hit somebody else.
I think they are ready to. I think the 9th grade is ready to go play somebody else. The JV's been going against the varsity. They want somebody other than the varsity to hit somebody their own age. But I like our kids there. A lot of those kids are playing up with us, but I like some kids. Some kids have come a long way. Hudson Smeltzer's a kid who last year was his first year playing football, who continues to get better. I think is going to end up being a good player for us over the next 4 years here, or 3 years here. Ben Dial's a kid. Again, hadn't played football, but has really bought in the program, worked hard in the weight room, has done a nice job.
Got to get him healthy.
Yeah, he's walking around. He's got a high ankle sprain, and hopefully he'll come back. Harrison Knight, Bennett Sams are two really good players, going to be really good players. Two guys who are probably slated to start for us next year on the offensive line. Man, just to watch them kind of grow, watch Harrison grow just from a personality standpoint. Ben Beltran is another one. Zion Gervais, Jameer Williams. We've got a good core group of kids in that class that work hard. They got great attitudes. I think they're the type of kids that we want around us and playing ball for us.
And then you mentioned the freshman guys. I know from the two sports I coach, flag and baseball, this freshman class is deep.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily have some of the Greg Peacocks of the world,
Yeah.
but across the board they're deep. Are we seeing the same thing in football?
There's some good athletes in that class. And I think it's going to end up being a really good class of kids. There's a lot of skill, a lot of kids who can run in that class. There's a few big kids who are going to be really good players a year from now, and some kids that we're going to have to do a great job developing. But when you watch that whole class as a whole, there's a lot of pieces to that class that we can build a football program around.
Man, the future is exciting.
Yeah.
Coach, what fundraisers are we doing these days, man?
Right now,
we need money.
There's always a chance. One of the big things right now is, obviously sign up for the Booster Club. That's one of the big issues we're doing right now, is trying to push people to encourage them to sign up for the Booster Club. Sign up for a social media program. If you want to support the football program, you own a business, for $900, we come out, shoot a video, a commercial that you can put on Facebook that we put in these programs. We also started the Friday night highlight show. We'll be doing senior spotlights starting next week, coaches' bios, trying to generate some content online around our football program for our kids, coaches, and just some awareness in the community. It's $900 for one of those, and you'll get probably 30 or 40 posts between it's all said and done. A lot of these videos get 1,500 to 2,000 views when by the season's over with. So that's a lot of looks on social media. But people can reach out if they're interested in doing that. We'd love to have businesses come in and support the program and support the Red Terrors. Every dime we put in our coffers goes straight back into the kids to buy better equipment, to provide things for them, get them on college campuses. And a lot of our kids don't get that opportunity if it wouldn't be for athletics here at Glenn Academy.
100%. Well, speaking of money, let's pause for a word from our sponsors, Sapelo Equipment.
Coach Rocky Hidalgo of the Glenn Academy Red Terrors. As a football coach, it's always nice to have a wide variety of tools to get the win on a Friday night. Running backs making plays, some big guys on the offensive line, and some nasty D linemen make the job a whole lot easier. Add some new tools to your team at Sapelo Equipment Company. Tractors, mowers, utility vehicles, construction, hay farm implements, and more. Make all of your jobs a whole lot easier by visiting the awesome folks at Sapelo Equipment Company. Go Terry!
All right, welcome back, guys. Thank you guys for joining us. So we're going to get into this week's opponent in a minute, but first off, I know we've had some changes on the coaching staff.
Yep.
Over the next couple weeks, I want to dive in, but one guy I feel has made a really big impact is that new speed and agility guy. I mean, he's a good-looking guy.
Yeah.
And
looks
I know
like me.
He looks like a younger
me.
Rock.
I
I really see the resemblance there. But man, I know just the buzz on campus. A lot of guys are really liking working out with him. Not just football players, but all athletes.
Yeah, I mean, he's been a great hire, Coach Sam Ellis, and he comes from Texas. He was training, working with a group out in Texas, training athletes like at South Lake Carroll's kids and stuff like that. And he's brought a great energy to the weight room. Just a totally different program than what traditionally we've done. This hardcore strength training with football, but I mean, he's kind of brought us out of the dark ages a little bit, and just totally different, more full body approach. Really taking a different approach, just trying to build this dynamic movement, explosive power with our kids. I think our kids have really bought into it. They love the workouts, but there's just kind of a nice juice in the weight room when you get in there with them and watch them train.
All right, Coach Ellis, you won the first coach mentioned award. All right, the rest of you new guys, we'll get to you. All right, I know some of y'all are freaking out right now. Kip Hall, we'll definitely talk about you in future episodes. So, Coach, we got MCA Thursday night.
Yep.
What can we expect to see out of those guys?
McIntosh, everybody looks at them and go, they're a single A team. They are a single A team, and they're not going to come over here with an 80-man roster. I know Coach Warren very well. They do a great job coaching their kids. They're not real big on the defensive side of the ball, but man, they can run around. They're like horse flies out there. They just swarm. So we've got to do a great job of getting down in our gaps with our footwork. We can't be lazy with our footwork on the offensive line. If not, they're going to crease us and create negative plays. We can't have negative plays. We've got to limit negative plays. Negative plays are drive killers. They do a great job running the ball. We've got to find the Mike linebacker. He's a really good player. Scrapes the football, puts his hat on people. So we've got to get a hat on that Mike linebacker every time. On the offensive side of the ball, I suspect they're going to try to sort of what they did last year. They're going to try to get and create some gaps by getting some big formations, 2 tights, 4-man surfaces, try to create some gaps. And again, decrease the number of negative plays they have, hold on that football and shorten the game. So I think they're going to try to end up in that 2nd and 7, 3rd and 3, and try to grind that thing out over
the old
and over
Big
again.
Ten football, 3 yards in a cloud of dust.
A little bit, but they do it out of some funky formations and stuff. It'll probably be Coach Warren's a really good coach, so we're probably going to get some different looks than we got last year, and we're going to have to be ready for it. And one of the things that we're not real good at right now is adjusting defensively because we're so inexperienced. So we're going to have to do a great job of coaching our kids on kind of where to get lined up and those things, but also, see if we can get them shuffled in place once we see what how they're going to try to attack us.
Coach, prepping for games. I know you missed the old days of sitting in a Waffle House parking lot to change game film out. Yep. We've got Huddle these days. Were we affected by the Huddle outage? I know there was an outage a couple weeks ago. Has that?
Not so much with me. I think this weekend they're saying on Sunday that the internet may not be on here, so that's going to be one of the things I'm concerned with. We're going to have to find a place to watch some film. I hadn't got to work on that, but I better get started in a hurry. But they're changing moving the internet connections for the new board office or something like that. So that may be an issue for us, but we didn't have any Huddle issues over here.
Fantastic. Good to hear. One last thing, Coach. We've got this border war coming up. We've mentioned it. It's something that you're going to hear a lot about, guys. September 8th, 9th, 10th, we've got some great programs from Florida, some great from Georgia. 100-mile radius. If you're a high school football fan, you should be here at Glenn County Stadium that weekend. What can we expect to see? What type of level are we bringing in these opposing teams? These teams coming in, not necessarily. We'll get to the GA games that game week, but these other teams. We've got teams like Bowls.
You've got teams that have competed for state championships on both sides. You've got, I'm trying to think of all the teams that are going to be in it on our end, but I think Richmond Hill's in it and Coffee County. New coach coming in from Florida, obviously Brunswick High and us. So there'll be some physical contests. I don't know a whole bunch about all those teams that are coming up here to play in these games, really and truly. I know we're playing Creekside. Bowls, obviously, everybody knows about Bowls. They've got a very successful football program over there and have been so for a long time. So what I suspect is you're going to have a lot of competitive football over the course of those 3 days. Everybody's going to learn about somebody. I think the biggest thing is it's going to be good for these teams in South Georgia over here on the coast who struggle getting games. This was, to fill a game so easily like this, it was a boon for us.
Yeah, I am pumped. Like I said, if you're a high school football fan within 100 miles of Southeast Georgia, you need to be here that weekend. I'm not going to put you on the spot today, but I'm going to give you a heads up. I'm going to have you pick all those games that we're not involved in a couple weeks.
I don't know anything about the teams.
I want to know who the winners. Well, you got time to do your film work.
Oh.
Coach, you got anything else for us, man?
Man, it's just everybody needs to show up tomorrow night and let's get after it and go get after those Buccaneers.
Yeah, Thursday night, MCA GA between the bricks. Hope you guys will be there. If you haven't checked out the new field, it is beautiful. Come see it, enjoy a hot dog, watch football game. Sorry, still in baseball mode. Watch a football game, join the Booster Club, buy a football card. We really appreciate you guys. Thanks again to our sponsors. I'm Coach Meyers signing off.
Go Terrors.
Go Terrors.